Knowing when to take the leap into going full-time is a big deal. If you feel like you're getting close, congratulations, that's awesome. If you're not quite there yet, that's totally okay too. In this video, we're going to talk about going full-time, what that looks like, and when you should take the leap. One of the first things you need to do when you're planning on quitting your job and having wedding photography as your only source of income is to figure out how much you need to live. This may seem basic, but it's really important. Your judgment may get clouded when you think about how much you want to make, but look at how much you need to make. There's a big difference there. This means you may have to give up some luxuries for a period of time or just be a bit more frugal with your money. It's good to have goals of what you want to make. However, the reality is that in your first year, you probably won't be making what you're going to make in your third, fourth, or even fifth years in business. You need to figure out what's enough for you, not what's enough based on what your family and friends think. You have to ask yourself, what's enough for me? A hard question, but a really important one. Here's my story. Straight out of high school, I took a job at the local grocery store. I didn't have a clear vision of what I wanted to do, so I figured, why waste money on a post-secondary education? As you can imagine, the work was dull. I felt trapped not knowing what the next step was. Enter photography. Friends noticed as I got to know my way around a camera. And in 2010, one of them asked if I would like to photograph their wedding. Reluctantly, I said yes, and I'm sure glad I did. Not soon after was when the referrals started coming in. Those that had seen the photos I took wanted to know if I could photograph their weddings, but I still didn't know there was real money to be made here. As the years passed, I took wedding photography more and more seriously, and then a moment came when I was making more from a camera than my full-time position at the store. That's when I knew it was time to quit. That was one of the best decisions I ever made. I now make over 5 times what I made at that unfulfilling job, and I work a lot less too. This story can be similar to any one of you. Work hard, and in time this can be your story too. Here's Kevin's story.
Let me tell you a bit about my story on how I went full-time with my photography business. I worked at a coffee shop while I was in college for marketing and starting my photography business. I would take any work I could get. Weddings started coming my way a bit more, and in 1 month, I was able to make enough money through all the bookings to be the equivalent of working part-time at the coffee shop for the rest of the school year. That means any other money I made from photography would be gravy. It was great. So I was able to draft my resignation letter and handed it in that day. That coffee shop was a great place to work. They had flexible hours, the pay was above minimum wage, and the customers were even nice. I made a bunch of friends too. The problem is, I had other goals and ambitions. That means I had to let go of something good so I can grab onto something that was much better suited for me, which was running my own photography business. I was so excited. I got to be my own boss. For the first couple of months, it was amazing. I got to brag to all of my friends at college, I don't need to find a marketing job. I'm a full-time photographer. The school year ended and I graduated. Then reality set in. This is work. This is hard work. While I was pursuing wedding photography, I took any photography job I could. It led me to be able to photograph some really cool jobs for people and companies who have way more fame and money than they know what to do with. Getting jobs is really cool. Shooting billboards is really cool, but it's not everything. Let me tell you, it left me feeling really unfulfilled. As weddings picked up, I began to realize why. There's nothing wrong with photographing big corporations' advertising photos. It's just not for me. At least right now. I discovered my sweet spot in photographing weddings. These events matter so much to the people in the photos. They're celebrating one of, if not one of the most important days of their lives, and they've chosen me to photograph it. That's pretty incredible. I've been able to work with my wife, and we've been able to purchase a car, which wasn't so great, but then we were able to get a nice one as our business grew. We were able to even buy a house and get a fancy studio in the heart of the downtown area of our city. Now, none of this would have happened if I didn't do the math, then trust my gut that things were going to work out. I'm a big believer you shouldn't make these kind of decisions based on your emotions. However, you should trust your gut. I think you know deep down if you've really got what it takes to be a full-time wedding photographer or if it's just a hobby for you. If you really don't know, try it out. What's the worst that could happen? It doesn't work out and you feel a bit embarrassed that you have to tell your friends and family you have to get a job again. So what? I'd rather fail trying than watch life go by and when I'm old regret that I never stepped out of my comfort zone. There's never any growth in comfort. I had awesome people rooting for me, and if you can surround yourself with some of those kind of people, do it. They say you're the average of the 5 people you hang around, so make sure you're spending time with 5 really supportive, kind, and empathetic and hardworking people. As thankful as I am for the people who are my cheerleaders, I never had a course like this. I never had a step-by-step guide that showed me what I needed to do in order to take the leap to becoming a full-time wedding photographer. My path was definitely not linear, but I don't know if anyone's path ever is. I'm really proud of what I've been able to do, and we want you to know that we're so proud of you for going through this course. And if you follow everything that we talked about, this can change the trajectory of your life. It'll give you the freedom you've dreamed of, and it has for me. That's my story and how I went full time. I can't wait to hear yours.